Hey guys, this is Pat from Ring Country. Heidi asked me if I could build a noodle board. And I said, well, I have no idea. I don't know what a noodle board is. So I had to do a little bit of looking around and research to find out what a noodle board was. So I'm not sure if I know how to make one, but I'm starting to build something that might resemble a noodle board. So I hope she likes it. I've collected some different pieces of wood here, and I have this in the bar clamps here, or pipe clamps, and I put that in there yesterday. I started the project yesterday, and so this glue should be done drying. It's real cold, and I don't have a heated shop, so this material has to sit out here for quite a while before it'll dry. Even in the summertime, I like to let things sit and dry a day before I take it out of the clamps. Anyhow, the glue is dry on both sides, where it's starting to pucker out here a little bit, so I know the board is in good shape to handle. This is made out of cedar. It's not meant to be a chopping block or anything like that. Stay tuned and throughout the video here, and then I will show you what a noodle board is. I found out I'm learning something new all the time, but this will be the back that goes on it. I cut that out yesterday. Started working on these two pieces here, and then we had to go to a dinner appointment. So this stuff is just roughed out. And so it goes something like that. I still have to cut in some rabbet joints here. I got some rabbet joints on the bottom that slip on here, and I'll be able to glue and fasten all of this together. So hang out with me in the shop today, and I'll try not to bore you too much, and we'll see if we can get this thing built. So I just want to quickly show you some of the tools that I've used to get to this point so far. And to cut these grooves in here, I have a dado blade set up in my vintage table saw here. And so all I do is I set the blade up to go 3/4 of an inch out this way and 3/8 of an inch's depth of cut. So I ran these through here, I ran the back through there, and so this in here I ran through there likewise. And so now I have to cut this groove out of here. Well, I could do that on this saw right here by running a miter guide through here, but I'm just going to go ahead and go over there to the radial arm saw and cut these notches out here. That'll kind of give you a demonstration that you don't necessarily need a dado blade to cut these. You can cut you make these cuts here on a table saw by making several passes and just moving your fence over just a little bit at a time, and you can make this cut on a table saw. You don't necessarily need this dado blade here. Dado blade just takes the kerf. Basically is you can make that kerf any width that you want up to, I think it's 7/8, and I think I can go down to 1/8 of an inch for rabbet cuts and dado joints, make lap joints and different things like that. So let's go ahead and go over to the radial arm saw, and I'll show you what I use to cut out. I'll show you these cuts here. Okay, we're over here at the radial arm saw, and I already have these pre-marked. I always make a straight line across here, so I know obviously where I need to stop on my passes. And so I'll get started. I just run this up to the fence. I already have my blade set to 3/8 of an inch above the table, so my depth of cut will be this much. I'll be able to take this much out of the depth of cut here. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to press down on this and up against the fence, and then down on the table. I have this backboard here. This little template here I can use for a bunch of different projects, and so it kind of helps me to kind of streamline my work I do. And I just put that up there. I found the center, went from the center out the length that the whole board has to go from the center out towards the edge, and I did the same on the other side. I knew my width that I needed to start with, and started a line based on being recessed in so far, and I believe that was an inch there that I had to figure out on that one. 3/4 of an inch, 5/8, something like that. I think it might have been 5/8. But anyways, I just set my little square up there. Do the same on the other side. Double check and verify. And then I just go ahead and trace around the little jig here. And then I flip it over and do the same on the other side. And then I go over to the bandsaw and I cut this out just like I did here. But what I did with this one is I left the top on it. See, I just left the top on it, and I didn't cut the little V shape in it. So that's the same shape. One just has the top left in it, and one has a little shape on the bottom side of it. So I use the same jig for both of these applications. I'm going to round off the front here. So I think I'll go to a 1/2 inch. Mark that. I'll go up to 1/2 inch on this one. Go up here and mark a 1/2 inch on this one. I didn't find me anything circular. Line up to where that line is just barely be able to see that line. And then the very top of the radius, I want this bottle here, or this round object, whatever it is you want to use, that just looked like a nice size to me. And then I can just trace around that. And make that line just disappear, or just to where it'll just disappear. And I have this right in here parallel to the side of my cylinder here, my round piece that I'm using to trace on. I just go here, trace a radius on there, and I'm done. Here over at the bandsaw. This bandsaw is a 3-wheel bandsaw, and it's set up for more doing a scroll work than doing any resawing. I don't like to saw anything real thick on this. I like to just cut out scallop shapes like I'm showing you here. I can put a 1/2 inch blade on here and do a little bit of resaw work, but it's not really designed to do that kind of work. I mean, like I said, I can do it, but I didn't buy it for that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Okay, as you can see, that cleaned that up pretty nice. It took all of the saw edges off of there and made that nice and smooth. So the other thing that I wanted to show you guys while I was here is this is also the tool, this little drill press that I got. And I got this at a garage sale. Brag about it a little bit. I got this at a garage sale for 10 bucks. And I got a video on our channel of me basically kind of refurbishing this thing from start to finish. I replaced the table on it and cleaned it up, and it works great. I gave it a new place to live and gave it a purpose. So anyway, I'll show you what I did to make these little handholds here. That's what those are. It's where you can stick your hands in and pick it up. I took a 1-inch Forstner bit after I made placement of where I wanted to cut the holes. Had this in the drill press, and I cut a hole on this end and another hole on this end, and then between each one of these holes I took a jigsaw and I cut along this line and cut along this line in order to cut these out. Well, jigsaws don't cut perfectly accurate. You know, the blade will have a tendency to try to wander one way a little bit sometimes, no matter how careful you are. I mean, these are pretty straight, but I want to go ahead and clean those up a little bit. So this is called a drum sander, and that's what I use to smooth out all the edges on this. And so they come in different sizes, as you can see. They got some 1-inch. I got just 1-inch high, and I got a 2-inch high one, and I got a smaller one yet, and of course the 2-inch. I think I got 1.5 inches. So I just look for the size that's best gonna operate in this particular situation. That one's too big. That one is just right. And so what I'll do is I'll lower the table. Replace that little guy. The little drum sander. And so I don't have to lift up the table, raise and lower the table every time I want to get in here. I just go ahead and put something underneath this. You know, make sure my table's cleaned off nice and flat, so things this isn't rocking. It's 90 degrees to the sanding drum. And I'll raise that up just a little bit so I can get over halfway into the hole there. I see I smoothed that up pretty good, huh? Anyway, you see that I raised this up a little bit to out of, you know, off of this top of this box here, but that's to take out these little ridges that are in here. So I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to start to sand this down, make it smooth. Just round off the corners a little bit, just make it nice and cut. Go ahead and pre-fit all this together. Oh, I gotta. And then what I'll do on this is I'll bullnose this over. I'll make this finished face rounded here. And so that'll dress this up and finish that off nice. But sand this flat, and I think we'll be ready for a glue up after I round this corner here off. Okay, as you can see here, I just rounded off these corners here just a little bit. I hand sanded this, so it you know doesn't have any sharp abrasive edges on here. I don't want to round off these corners here because there's going to be a board coming off this way. The back board is going to be coming off this way. So when I bring this together, I want those corners to come in and be nice and crisp and clean. If I rounded that off, it would bring that corner, it would make it look kind of like that, like it's not a good tight fit. So I'll leave a nice square edge on that right there. So likewise with this piece right here, it's going to come flat to the bottom of this. So I don't want to sand this down, but the handle, the top, all of that right there, the front, I want to sand these two corners down to this point and sand this corner all the way down the front face of this. So when I put this on here, this will be a nice closed corner right in here and along the edge. But then everywhere where you can touch out here will have a nice little radius to it. So I'll go ahead and get the other pieces of those sanded. I have to sand down the backboard. All the corners on the backboard here. All these corners here, I have to sand this down, but not this in here. As you see, I'm just kind of rolling this along. As I'm just keeping this hand, I'm just kind of moving it back and forth. And I just kind of roll my work in there, and that makes a nice clean radius along that edge there. We have the noodle board dried and sanded, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to etch a couple little trees on here with wood burning kit here, and just dress this up a little bit. I'll put a couple little trees on each side. It's kind of a rain country logo. I'll let the wood burning iron heat up a little bit, and I'll kind of draw on here where basically I want the little trees to be. So I'll kind of find center in here. So right about in there is where I want the trees to be. So I'm going to go ahead and wood burns a couple of little trees on here. We don't have power today, so I got the little 3,000 watt Honda generator running. I got some LED floodlights going. I was running the sander a little bit, and now I'm gonna run the wood burner here. I got the refrigerator running on the little generator, kind of saving our solar for tonight for our entertainment system. We got all our computers and stuff like that all set up on our solar.